Hey, what's up, guys? I wanted to talk about Nuke and Valve making the recent change where they took Nuke out of the active map pool and swapped it with Train. So for Nuke, we're not really sure what's going to happen with it. We're not sure if Valve's taking it out of the active map pool to work on it and then, revamp it and put it back in. So we're not sure what's going to happen to Nuke, but it definitely needed some changes. I was never too fond of Nuke playing it competitively with my team, with just CT side being so overpowered, the rotates being so fast, really making setups useless. There's just so many things you can do on CT side that you have such an advantage. So let's just talk about a couple things. So I'm actually not even mad that Nuke was taken out. I'm not sure. Not too many teams are too sad about it. This Nuke definitely needed some sort of change. I would like Nuke to come back with some revamp, with it being revamped. So let's just talk about like what we'd like to see with Nuke, and I think that Valve shouldn't be afraid to really tear apart Nuke and really change it. Secret I thought was a pretty good change at first, but now that the map's been out for so long, I almost feel like, or I kind of do feel like Secret is an advantage for the CTs now and not the terrorists. A lot of the times the CTs can start off by playing in the spot, and then if you start off by playing in the spot, you get so much information. And now it's just another angle for the terrorists to have to worry about. So instead of that just being like a blank wall, the terrorists now have to worry about a player being in here, randomly playing it this round, picking off Secret, randomly flanking outside, even if they do take upper. There's just so much the CTs can utilize this now that, if played right, I think it actually is an advantage for the CTs now. So it's kind of interesting how that kind of swapped over time. There's just so many little details that could be changed. I mean, we could make some big changes as well. But just like, I was just thinking about this for 5 minutes. So imagine, if Valve sat down and really thought about what needs changed. You could really make some great changes on Nuke, honestly. Just some like quick things, just on seeing the other versions, like the Counter-Strike Source version of this map. This box used to be a lot higher, which would then eliminate this spot. You wouldn't be able to see just someone's head over the top of this. It'd be kind of like the height of that box. So that would eliminate, this angle being good as a CT. These boxes are the same ones that used to be tall ones. So instead of this actually being an angle, like seeing people go into go into mini, seeing people cross outside from this gap, these boxes used to be a lot taller, which would allow the terrorists to actually run into mini and be safe from these angles right here. So it just adds so much more visibility for the counter-terrorists. Also, when crossing outside in the old versions of Nuke, there used to be a really big box here, a very tall box like this, and it would stick out pretty far as well, so that if you were playing the locker room down here, you couldn't see people cross. If you played on this angle, the box would cover it all. So if you had to peek outside, you had to peek it from the very left of this window, which once again helps the terrorists get outside control if there's a box here. So just there's so many things that actually were taken away from the Nuke version and Go that really make it more CT-sided. Just talking about some few other things. Like Nuke could be widened so that it's not just some tiny little choke point that can be easily held by one smoke and one counter-terrorist that, if they do execute through it, pretty much just spraying the gap and they have to run through the gap, so you're going to get some free kills. So maybe widening this out, so maybe that it can't be held by just one smoke grenade could be pretty interesting. One of the big things about Nuke was rotating super fast. You can be lower, you can be upper within seconds, literally. So just like talking about the vents, I mean, there could be so much done to it. So, let's say that we change how the vents, instead of them always being crouch, like in 1.6, you have to crouch through all the vents, so it'd be really slow. So instead of making them actually all crouching, let's just say like you could still run on this part, but for you to go exit from here to here, so from like this part, this would come down like lower, so you'd have to, for you to kill the planner, you'd have to duck out and then go like that. So maybe, I mean, that could be a change. I mean, you could go really to a lot of extremes with the vents. So like right now, if someone plants, you can swing out on them so fast just running out here. So maybe just making this little square here, you have to duck when running out. Or if you want to be like, I mean, you could take away the vents really. Let's say this is completely eliminated from seeing here. So you drop into the vents. This is a solid wall, and you can only rotate from the back hall. And then maybe you could introduce the barrel side again, making this go wrap around like that. So for the CTs to rotate lower, they'd have to drop vents, rotate backhaul, and either rotate window side all the way around. So then they'd be able to hold it from like window side here, or they'd have to go out of the back vents and, you know, rotate barrel side. I mean, that would make rotates a lot longer. That would actually make ramp more important to hold as a counter-terrorist, because if you give up ramp, you know, the terrorists can easily storm lower and they can't be shot from these vents. I mean, you can make a lot of crazy things happen by changing some stuff up. And I'm not saying, like, you know, delete the vents entirely or anything, but there could be a lot of interesting things done. Just for example, this nuke thing here is so overpowered for a counter-terrorist. If a counter-terrorist plays behind the spot, you can't wall him. You can't do anything. He can just, yep, pop, and just hide behind here as long as he wants. All of his teammates just drop in the vents. Rotate helps him. So I like this actually being a box when it was in the older versions, because if a guy peeked you from the ramp here, you could kind of spam the box, and it wouldn't be just like an impenetrable thing that he could just sit behind, you know, randomly peek you, wait for his team. So I think this being a nuke, I mean, that's just very little things. That's not even like changing the map layout. That's just changing, you know, structure, just an object on the map that could easily make it more terror-sided. But what else was I thinking about? So I think a window side here, secret. I really didn't think about moving secret or anything yet, but even the rafters upper, let's say like you just couldn't get on this side of the rafters at all. Let's just say you could run this wall here, still on this wall here, but like this wall right here just wasn't, you couldn't walk on top of it. So if you had to watch hut, like this is the furthest you could go, you know what I mean? And then if you wanted to watch like squeaky, you could go as far as to right here, but you could never run along this thing. Like this rafter doesn't necessarily need to be there, and that could honestly make it a lot more like terror-sided. For you to come out, you could then only worry about someone being straight ahead of you, and then coming out of squeaky, you just check the top right, and with some good pop flashes and coordination, I mean, it's this rafter that really makes this upper site overpowered, because it's so hard to check that side of the rafter. Once again, I'm not a fan of these boxes here. The terrorists come in mini and on a mini split, and they're just like, you know, you can't do anything. The CTs can just work so well behind this box. I mean, that's just an object change. I mean, you could really go to extremes to where, like, maybe this squeaky door, change the layout somehow of this upper site, change where the squeaky door can't be watched from mini so easily like this. Maybe make it, I'm not sure how you do it, but even like making the door, extending this upper a little bit, and making the door at a spot where like the mini guy can't see it unless he swings in. So it makes getting out of squeaky a lot more, I mean, a lot easier. So yeah, I mean, that's just me running around just randomly looking at changes. I think the vents could be, you know, changed. Don't even have to even be vents. They could, I mean, it could really, a lot of things could change here. Cut down some rotate times. Change some of the objects that aren't, make it so CT sided. You know, just cut down the visibility for the CTs. It's like they can see so much from so many different spots. You pretty much have so much knowledge all the time. But yeah, that's just me just thinking real quickly. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Bye.